I am going to teach you today animals and their homes. Today we will learn about animals and where do they live. First of all, you should know what is home. A home is a place where we live. We need a place to live in. That place is called a home or a house. A home is an important place where we all live. Why do we need a house? We need a house. Why? Because a house protects us from heat, cold, rain, wind, thieves, insects, and wild animals. Same like us, animals also need home to protect themselves from heat, rain, wind, cold, and danger. For example, if the weather is hot, then hen takes shelter in its coop. If the weather is rainy, then dog takes shelter in its kennel. If the weather is windy, then horse takes shelter in its stable. If the weather is cold, then rabbit takes shelter in its burrow. If the snake has danger from other animals, then it takes shelter in its hole. Different animals live in different types of houses. Now let us see. This is a horse. This is a horse. Horse. Now let us see, where does it live? A horse lives in a stable. This is the home of a horse. The home of a horse is called a stable. A horse lives in a stable. Where does a horse live? A horse lives in a stable. Next. This is a dog. This is a dog. Dog. Now let us know, where does it live? A dog lives in a kennel. This is the home of a dog. A dog's home is called a kennel. A dog lives in a kennel. Where does a dog live? A dog lives in a kennel. Next. This is a bird. This is a bird. Bird. Now let us see, where does it live? A bird lives in a nest. This is the home of a bird. A bird's home is called a nest. A bird lives in a nest. Where does a bird live? A bird lives in a nest. Next. This is a hen. This is a hen. Hen. Now let us see, where does it live? A hen lives in a coop. This is the home of a hen. A hen's home is called a coop. A hen lives in a coop. Where does a hen live? A hen lives in a coop. Next. This is a rabbit. This is a rabbit. Rabbit. Now let us know, where does it live? A rabbit lives in a burrow. This is the home of a rabbit. A rabbit's home is called a burrow. A rabbit digs burrow to live in. A rabbit lives in a burrow. Where does a rabbit live? A rabbit lives in a burrow. Next. This is a fish. This is a fish. Fish. Now let us know, where does it live? A fish lives in water. A fish lives in water. Where does a fish live? A fish lives in water. A fish lives in water. Next. This is a lion. This is a lion. Lion. Now let us see, where does it live? A lion lives in a den. This is the home of a lion. A lion's home is called a den. A lion lives in a den. Where does a lion live? A lion lives in a den. Next. This is a honeybee. This is a honeybee. Honeybee. Now let us see, where does it live? A honeybee lives in a beehive. This is the home of a honeybee. A honeybee's home is called a beehive. A honeybee lives in a beehive. Where does a honeybee live? A honeybee lives in a beehive. Next. This is a spider. This is a spider. Spider. Now let us know, where does it live? A spider lives in a web. This is the home of a spider. A spider's home is called a web. It spins a web to live in. A spider lives in a web. Where does a spider live? A spider lives in a web. Next. This is a cow. This is a cow. Cow. Now let us see, where does it live? A cow lives in a shed. This is the home of a cow. A cow's home is called a shed. A cow lives in a shed. Where does a cow live? A cow lives in a shed. Next. This is a snake. This is a snake. Snake. Now let us see, where does it live? A snake lives in a hole. This is the home of a snake. A snake's home is called a hole. A snake lives in a hole. Where does a snake live? A snake lives in a hole. I repeat from the beginning. A horse lives in a stable. Where does a horse live? A horse lives in a stable. Next. A dog lives in a kennel. Where does a dog live? A dog lives in a kennel. Next. A bird lives in a nest. Where does a bird live? A bird lives in a nest. Next. A hen lives in a coop. Where does a hen live? A hen lives in a coop. Next, a rabbit lives in a burrow. Where does a rabbit live? A rabbit lives in a burrow. Next, a fish lives in a water. Where does a fish live? A fish lives in water. Next, a lion lives in a den. Where does a lion live? A lion lives in a den. Next, a honeybee lives in a beehive. Where does a honeybee live? A honeybee lives in a beehive. Next, a spider lives in a web. Where does a spider live? A spider lives in a web. Next, a cow lives in a shed. Where does a cow live? A cow lives in a shed. Next, a snake lives in a hole. Where does a snake live? A snake lives in a hole. Now let us repeat one more time. A horse lives in a stable. A dog lives in a kennel. A bird lives in a nest. A hen lives in a coop. A rabbit lives in a burrow. A fish lives in water. A lion lives in a den. A honeybee lives in a beehive. A spider lives in a web. A cow lives in a shed. And a snake lives in a hole. Now it's your turn to answer the questions. Where does a horse live? A horse lives in a stable. Next, where does a dog live? A dog lives in a kennel. Next, where does a bird live? A bird lives in a nest. Next, where does a hen live? A hen lives in a coop. Next, where does a rabbit live? A rabbit lives in a burrow. Next, where does a fish live? A fish lives in water. Next, where does a lion live? A lion lives in a den. Next, where does a honeybee live? A honeybee lives in a beehive. Next, where does a spider live? A spider lives in a web. Next, where does a cow live? A cow lives in a shed. Next, where does a snake live? A snake lives in a hole. Here we have one worksheet based on homes of animals. We have to match the animals with their homes. One side animals are there and the other side their homes are there. We have to match each animal with its home. Let us start. Here the first picture is dog. Where does a dog live? A dog lives in a kennel. Now let's find, where is a kennel? Is it a kennel? No, it's a nest. Is it a kennel? No, it's a stable. Is it a kennel? Yes, this is a kennel. Here the dog lives in. Now let us match. A dog lives in a kennel. Where does a dog live? A dog lives in a kennel. Next question. Which picture is this? What is this? This is a cow. Where does a cow live? A cow lives in a shed. Now let us find, where is a shed? Is it a shed? No, it's a nest. Is it a shed? No, it's a stable. Is it a shed? No, it's a kennel. Is it a shed? Yes, it's a shed. So here the cow lives. Now let us match. Where does the cow live? A cow lives in a shed. A cow lives in a shed. Next picture. What is this? This is a bird. Where does a bird live? A bird lives in a nest. Let us see where is nest. Is it a nest? Yes, here the bird lives. So let us match. Where does a bird live? A bird lives in a nest. So we have to match a bird's home with its nest. Next picture. What is this? This is a horse. Where does the horse live? A horse lives in a stable. Let's find where is stable. Is it a stable? No, it's a nest. Is it a stable? Yes, here the horse lives. So let us match horse with its home, that is stable. Where does a horse live? A horse lives in a stable. A horse lives in a stable. Next. What is this picture? This is a hen. Where does a hen live? A hen lives in a coop. A hen lives in a coop. Let us see where is coop. Is it a coop? No, it's a nest. Is it a coop? No, it's a stable. Is it a coop? No, it's a kennel. Is it a coop? No, it's a shed. Is it a coop? Yes, it's a coop. Now let us match a hen's home, that is coop. Where does a hen live? A hen lives in a coop. Next. What is this? This is a lion. Where does a lion live? A lion lives in a den. Now we have to match lion with its home den. Let us see where is den. Is it a den? No, it's a hole. Is it a den? No, it's water. Is it a den? Yes, it's den. Now let us match lion with its home den. Where does a lion live? A lion lives in a den. Next. What is this? This is a honeybee. Where does a honeybee live? A honeybee lives in a beehive. Let us see where is beehive. We have to match honeybee with its home beehive. Let us see where is beehive. Is it beehive? No, it's a hole. Is it beehive? No, it is water. Is it beehive? No, it's den. Is it beehive? No, it's burrow. Is it beehive? Yes, it's beehive. Here, honeybee lives. Now we have to match honeybee with its home beehive. Let us match. Where does honeybee live? A honeybee lives in a beehive. Next. What is this? This is a spider. Where does a spider live? A spider lives in a web. Now we have to match a spider with its home web. Let us see where is web. Is it a web? No, it's a hole. Is it a web? No, it's water. Is it a web? No, it is den. Is it a web? No, it is burrow. Is it a web? No, it's beehive. Is it a web? Yes, it's web. Here the spider lives. Now we have to match spider with its home, that is web. Let us match. Where does the spider live? A spider lives in a web. We have to match spider with its home, that is web. And so we did. Next. What is this? This is a fish. Where does a fish live? A fish lives in water. Now we have to match fish with water. Let us match. First we will see where is water. Is it water? No, it's a hole. Is it water? Yes. We have to match fish with water. Let us match. Where does a fish live? A fish lives in water. We have to match fish with water. Next. What is this? This is a rabbit. Where does a rabbit live? A rabbit lives in a burrow. Now let us see where is burrow. Is it a burrow? No, it's a hole. Is it a burrow? No, it's water. Is it a burrow? No, it's a den. Is it a burrow? Yes, it's a burrow. Here the rabbit lives. Now let us match rabbit with its home, that is burrow. Where does a rabbit live? A rabbit lives in a burrow. Next. What is this? This is a snake. Where does a snake live? A snake lives in a hole. Now let us see where is hole. Is it a hole? Yes. Now we have to match snake with its home, that is hole. Let us match. Where does a snake live? A snake lives in a hole. We have to match snake with its home, that is hole. A snake lives in a hole. Done. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos.